Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 5th day of February, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone. Follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. Now, on the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, not to worry, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live, and there you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. You just won't have access to the chat box. The chat box is important because we want you to be able to ask questions and participate in the discussion. Also, we do stream live each and every day at youtube.com/CFRN. You can watch today's live broadcast there, and after today's broadcast, you'll find that we have archived on that channel every live broadcast since 2011. Currently, I think there's over 1,600 daily shows archived at youtube.com/CFRN. Now, if you happen to be listening to this broadcast after the fact, perhaps as a podcast on iTunes or iHeartRadio or Spotify, wherever pods are cast, you can just listen to the audio. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. But if you're not driving or operating heavy machinery, you can hit pause on your podcast player, point your browser to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN, and you'll be able to hear both the audio and see the video because we'll be showing charts throughout the show as we go over the alerts, as Michael recaps what happened this morning in the live training room, and you can see everything that we're talking about, okay? Now, we have a very special guest joining us at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, Bruce from the official Price Maker channel. Those of you who are familiar with cryptocurrency, and in particular, a coin called G999. Bruce is the man behind the videos that are in the official Price Maker channel. We've all been listening to him and watching him for quite some time now. I guess it's a couple months. But today you get to meet him. He's going to be here live, talk with us. We're going to learn more about G999, and we're also going to learn more about the official Price Maker strategy. This is exciting stuff, and so stick around. Again, if you're watching this after the fact and you're not interested in the stuff that we're talking about during the first hour, which is trading Emini Futures, feel free to just fast forward to the second hour of the broadcast, and that's when Bruce will join us. So let's open with a word of prayer as we do. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for your blessings, for your mercy, and for your grace. We thank you for every virtual seat that has been filled here today for this broadcast, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what we're setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all of our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for pride, the pride that puffs us up and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be, set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. We ask that as you join us, that you would bless this broadcast today. All those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter after this broadcast. Lord, we ask that you ready us now to make every moment count. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, happy Friday, guys. It's here. The weekend is upon us, but we've still got important stuff to cover before the weekend starts. So let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets indices, as they're called. Let me refresh my data. All right, starting here in the US, the Dow is currently up 93 points. NASDAQ is up 62. S&P 500 is up 15. And the Russell 2000 up 22. Now, the only mover and shaker there would be the Russell, which is up just over 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 57 cents, trading 56.80 last. That's a gain of a little over 1%. Gold up $23.80, trading 18.15 last. That's a gain of over 1.25%. And silver up 77 cents, trading $27 last. That's a gain of almost 3%. Now, you know how bullish we are on silver, both physical silver and futures. When the price of silver moves a dollar, let's say $26 to $27, if you own physical silver, you just made a buck, and that's a good thing. If you're holding a large futures contract on silver and price goes from $26 to $27, that's a gain of $5,000 per contract traded. So currently on the session, silver is up 77 cents, trading $27 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 437 points. That's 1.5%. The Shanghai dropped 5 points. The Hang Seng gained 175. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 14, the DAX down 3.5, and the CAC added 50. And for the CAC, that's a gain of almost 1%. That gives us a mixed day in Asia. It's a mixed day in the UK. And so far, it's a big green radio Friday here in the US of A. With that, we'll go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. After that, I'll be back. We'll go over the Logic 247 alerts from the last 24 hours, go over the concierge trade alerts from the last 24 hours. And I'll move at somewhat of a brisk pace today because I want to get that all done and out of the way so that when Bruce comes on at the top of the hour, we can give him our undivided attention. So Michael, if you are ready, you can take the charts and take it away.
Okay, I am here, I am ready. I can take the charts.
Now we had two rooms running this morning. Michael was in our regular live training room. This is where we teach you the underlying methodology, strategy, principles. Our method is very simple. It's not overwhelming, it's not complicated, it's not convoluted. So Michael will walk you through everything that happened there. In the other room this morning, Valerie and I were there, and using the same methodology, same strategy that you learn every day in the live training room, we were applying that to larger time frames and multiple time frames. Multiple time frames are very important if you're going to become a futures trader or even a stock trader. So pay attention to Michael. When he's done, I'll be back and we'll cover all that I just said, plus answers to your questions. You can ask a question at any time, just put it in the chat box. One of us will get it answered for you. Okay, Mike, I can see your charts. It's all yours.
Excellent. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is the 5th day of February 2021. Today in crude oil, we made 16 ticks, and gold we made 29 ticks, and on the ES, we made 6 ticks. So a little tougher trading today than it's been the rest of the week. But nevertheless, we did get our goal for the day. Today took 33 minutes and 6 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 23 trades. So on the month now, we're at $4,437. That's over 5 days, averaging $887 per contract per day. We are now on our 237th consecutive day of getting the goal, and so far this year we're at 24 consecutive days. On the year now, we're at $18,772. So over 24 days, averaging $782 per contract per 2-hour day. That's on the year. The other one was on the month. Okay, 887 on the month right now. Now we're still early into the month, so that number is probably going to change as we progress, but we'll see. Could go up, could go down. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. It says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you'll be brought here to eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. And you can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. Now you must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't click that link, you won't get a free trial. No, we don't know that you click, we don't know that you want the free trial until you click that link. Okay, so now let's get into what did happen, what didn't happen. Yeah, let me just minimize this. Oops. I'm trying to make it smaller, but I can't. There we go. All right. And that. And that. All right. We'll start out with the gold. We had more trades on gold than any other market today. Now we started out right here with a nice break-even trade. I should have taken some profit on it. Actually, did I get any profit on that? That one, that one, that one. No, I didn't. Okay, so I had a break-even, a +3, a +6. That put us at +9. Then we had a stop out to put us down to +1. And then we had another break even, then another break even. And I was looking in here, we had a lot of YBR trades, but we didn't have the regular trade setups happening. The YBR trades were doing well today. You know, you can see them, one there, one there, one there, one there. Yeah, one there too. But then somewhere in here we picked up, after the stop out, that put us down to +1. Yeah, then this one right here was 14 ticks, that put us at +15. Then we had a break even, a +5 to put us at +20. Another break even, and another break even. There's a lot of break evens this morning on gold. Another break even. And this one right here, we picked up 6 ticks to put us at +26. And here we picked up 3 to put us at +29. That was where we stopped trading on the gold for the morning. Let's see, during the break, there was a long trade right here. Could grab that. And that was about it this morning in gold. Now, gold's where we did most of the trading. We did some trading here on the crude today. We had some opportunity. We missed a short right here that would have been a break even. We picked up this one right here, gave us 9 ticks. That's where we got the goal for the day, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 33 minutes. We had 9 ticks. Then we had a break even trade. Then we picked up 10 ticks on this to get us at 19. Then I missed something in here. There was somewhere in here we picked up 5 ticks that I didn't write down. And then we stopped out. The 5 ticks put us at +24, and we stopped out and it put us down to +16 on the morning session. And that was it for the morning. There was a momentum short trade right here that you could have taken with that leg down, and nothing really on the long side. And that was it during the break. Now the ES, we didn't get many trades today on the ES. The ES was just kind of messy today. It didn't have a lot of action at all. Again, the YBR trades are working out okay. If you're doing them, this trade right here was a shorting opportunity, would have been a break even. Then we had a break even there, a +2 there, I think. No, we had a break even there, a break even there, a +2 here to get us at +4, a +2 here to get us, I'm sorry, +2 to get us at +2, then a +2 to get us at +4, then a +2 to get us at +6. And that's where we ended the morning session on the ES. So we didn't have, after all the trading that we've had on the ES these past, not so much yesterday, but the day before yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. So far this week, we've had 5, 10, 18, 23, 27, 37, 40, 43, 48 trades on the ES alone this week. But most of them are in the first couple of days, first 3 days of the week. Anyway, that's how we ended the morning session with the ES. Okay. And Marianne, yeah, I was from Boston. I'm in North Carolina now. All right, so let's go back here. If you have not taken a free trial with CFRN and you want to, go to the homepage at cfrn.net, scroll down here to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that and you'll be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you if you want to. Name, email, and phone number. And here's where you tell us that biggest trading challenge. That sets us up for the one-on-one training meeting so we know what you're looking for so we can prepare for it. Okay. Hit the send button, you'll be sent the confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link because we don't know that you took the free trial if you don't click on that confirmation link. Okay. Now we'll go back to the spreadsheet one more time really quick. Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you could read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. I have to say that. Today is the 5th day of February, 2021. We made 16 ticks in crude, 29 ticks in gold, and 6 ticks on the ES. Put us at +525 on the morning session. Today it took 33 minutes and 6 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 23 trades. So on the month now, we're at $4,437. That's over 5 trading days, averaging $887 per contract per 2-hour trading day. We are now on our 237th consecutive day of getting the goal and our 24th consecutive day so far this year. On the year now, we're at $18,772. That's gross, averaging $782 per contract per 2-hour trading day. And that's over 24 days. Okay. All right. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Okay.
Ready, I am. Let me hit send on this one thing over here.
Okay.
So Valerie, Bruce, who's going to join us at the top of the hour, if you can maybe notify me when he shows up. Well, I told him we would open his mic at 1, but David Grant, who normally joins me on Wednesdays, he may come in and join me in the discussion with Bruce. And so if you see him pop in, you can let me know as well, and we will open up his mic also. So let me grab the charts and Michael, a recap of the recap, please.
Today took 33 minutes and 6 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 per contract.
33 minutes and 3 trades.
6 trades.
Yeah.
6 trades.
I'm sorry, 6 trades. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how long does it take every day to get your goal? It takes as long as it takes.
It does. It does. I mean, we had to stop out in there this morning. That's why it took a little longer. I had a couple of times while I was trying to get my goal that I didn't move fast enough and take profit fast enough and trail my stop fast enough. Just kept coming back and it took me out to break even. Did that like
If
3
you heard
times.
that noise just there, that's I've got my. It's a beautiful day. It's like a spring day here in Phoenix. So I have my window open. There's not many days in the year that I can have my window
You
open.
can open your window.
Kind of nice.
Mhm.
Have a little fresh air, a little breeze. I'm getting the recap. Now, Michael's goal this morning, $100.
Mhm.
Takes as many trades as it takes as long as it takes. The idea is to get your goal. Now, you're probably thinking, well, okay, $100, I can't pay my bills with $100. Most people can't. When you first become a member, we don't want you trading live. Even though we're teaching you the methodology, we're teaching you the strategy, you need to learn it. So we want you trading in SIM, the demo account, until you've put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Once you accomplish that, our 2420 blueprint is going to give you the green light to go live with one contract. Just one. Now you have a new goal. Now your goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000. So whether your opening balance was $3,000 or $5,000, doesn't matter. Once you start trading live, the goal is to increase that balance by $2,000. The reason is because you're going to use that profit to add a second contract. Once you add your second contract, the same 2 points now make you $200 instead of $100. That's just a simple function of math. So you'll trade 2 contracts until the blueprint says it's time to add number 3. You only will add 1 contract, and you will add it with profit you earn in the market. Never add more than 1 contract at a time, and only add additional contracts with profit you earned in the market. The blueprint will notify you each time it is time to increase the number of contracts by 1. So as you earn your way up that ladder, when you hit 5 contracts, the same 2 points that made Michael $100 this morning will make you $500. Same 2 points. You're just trading more contracts. By the time you earn your way up to 10 contracts, 2 points in the S&P is worth $1,000. Now, when you get to that level, 10 contracts, taking just points a day out of the S&P, it's $1,000. That puts you in the top 3% of wage earners worldwide. The other day when David Grant was on the show, we brought up a chart that showed what the average annual income was around the world. Now, you all know that we have an orphanage in Kampala, Uganda. That's East Africa. My friend who just passed, he had a boys' home right across the border in Kenya. The average annual income, this is household income. In Uganda, it's $1,800. In Kenya, it's $1,700. I want you to think about what I just said. Okay, 2 points out of the ES on a consistent daily basis. Once you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, it's $1,000 a day. If you do that 2 days back to back, you just exceeded the annual median household income of Kenya, of Uganda, and many other places around the world. This is an opportunity that you should not take lightly, okay? The more you treat this like a business, and that's what we teach you. We teach you how to not just get your 2 points a day out of the market. We teach you how to operate this as a business, because it is a business. It's your trading business. Now, nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's telling you what to do. So you have to develop patience and a lot of self-discipline. When you sit down to trade, there's not always, let's say you only want to trade the S&P. Well, when you sit down to trade, the S&P may not be providing you with a trade setup at that moment in time. Because our methodology is fluid across all markets and all time frames, the S&P isn't setting up. Look at the Dow, look at the Russell, look at the NQ, look at crude, look at gold, look at silver. We trade every market exactly the same. Now, some people will tell you, well, that's not possible because the different markets have different personalities. Yeah, they probably do. I don't argue that point. But we're not looking for a relationship. We're looking for a high probability, low risk trade opportunity based on market structure and the very simple strategy that we teach you. Now, so far this week, our alert service, we have two types of alerts. The concierge alerts, that's a static report. It's forward guidance for the entire session. So today's Friday, but the Friday session started last night, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, begins the Monday session. So this coming Sunday night, the alert channel will open for business. We'll start publishing alerts around the clock right up until next Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So far this week, we have issued, and this is week 131 of our Logic 247 alerts. We've been doing the concierge trade alerts since 2011, maybe it was 2010. It's about a decade. This morning in the room that Valerie and I were in, somebody says, well, do you have any kind of a track record? The answer to that is absolutely. We've issued over 6,000 logic alerts over the last 131 weeks, and every one of those is a matter of public record. You can absolutely go and look at every entry, every target, and the outcome. So far this week, we've issued 83 logic alerts. It's been a busy week. 18 never triggered. Still waiting on the results of 4. So we've had 61 actionable alerts. That's 61 alerts that did trigger out of the 83. 4 have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible. Now, again, we don't want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, and we use market structure. In the live training room, when Michael is just teaching you the strategy, we use an 8-tick hard stop on everything. And we use a fast time frame so we can show you a lot of setups over the course of each 2-hour session. But as we move into the larger time frames, all of the alerts are based on a 30-minute chart. So when Telegram sounds the alarm on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, or your Mac, you don't have to trip over your feet trying to get to the computer to put the trade on. I build in enough time into the alerts for you to finish what you're doing, get to your desk, get your thinking cap on, get your trading cap on. I want you to study the alert, and then I want you to study the chart. Before you place the trade, even in your simulator, which is where you start, I want you to understand why the entry's where it is, why the initial target is where it is, the second target, the third target, the final target. As you repeat this process, you take what Michael is teaching in the room, and then you apply that knowledge to the alerts. And you keep just repeating that process over and over and over and over. The goal is that pretty soon you learn to find and spot these opportunities yourself. We teach you how. There's no secret, there's no mystery. We're very transparent. You know, not only do we do everything live in real time right in front of you, Michael's trading live in real time in front of you in the room. The alerts come out before they trigger. This is not an after the fact, woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of thing. Every one of these actionable alerts went out to our traders well before triggered. This is the results. Now, this week, 7% of the actionable stopped out. That's not typical. An average week, 20% will get stopped out. Okay. So what does an alert look like? Well, this is what the logic alerts look like. Now start at the bottom. We had an alert this morning to be long gold at 1811, the initial target 1812. Now $100, that's 2 points in the S&P. In gold, it's 10 ticks. The S&P is 8 ticks. It pays $12.50 per tick. Gold, 10 ticks is $100. Crude, 10 ticks is $100. The Dow, 20 points at $5 a point. There's your $100. The Russell also pays $50 a point. So on each alert, the initial target, because some of our traders, that's all they're looking to do is get their goal for the day, make that $100, and then they want to go do life, whatever it is God created you for, your purpose, your destiny. Some people are called to build orphanages. Some people are called to feed the hungry, some to clothe the naked, some to house the homeless, others to preach the gospel. But ministry costs money. So that money's got to come from somewhere. I wish trading was the answer for everybody, but let's face it, it's not. We will teach you what you need to know. We'll provide you with the knowledge. We'll provide you with the tools. But you have to bring some things to the table that we can't give you. Discipline, self-discipline, patience. And you have to understand this is a business based on probabilities. The moment you try to make it about anything more than a probability, might as well hang up the mouse and go home. Okay, so this trade, entry buy 1811, initial target 1812. Okay, that's goal for the day for some. Second target 1814. The final trade to target is a weekly trade down from this week at 1820. Now the numbers you see up here in parentheses, that's where the move was when Valerie came through and did the recap. Price had reached 1815.70. So from the entry to the time she recap, that would be $470 per contract traded. $470 per contract traded. And it may have gone further because we're going to look at the charts in just a moment. Okay, so we're still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. Okay, we had a long on the Russell that got stopped out. Remember, we want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible. I teach you how to set your stop using market structure and a very simple 3-step process. Still waiting on this Dow. Here's a crude oil. This got a PT designation. PT means price did not make it all the way to the initial target, but it got at least 60% of the way. So you had an opportunity to lock in some profit if you choose. Now, let me jump back real quick to this. Okay, so far this week, we've had 10 PTs out of 60 actionable alerts. 10 is what percentage of 61? 16.39%. Okay. On a difficult week, we'll see about 30 to 33% with the PT designation. Yesterday, we were sitting at about 10%, I think it was. Last week, we finished the week with about 14%. Okay. And the others, okay, so you got full target, partial target. Okay, so make sure you understand what everything means. Now, going back to the alerts themselves. Crude, at the time Valerie did the recap, it made it to 57.13. Don't know if it went any higher or not. We'll look at the chart in a minute. So from 05 to 13, that's 8 ticks, $80 per contract traded. And then we had a short on the Russell, and we traded this live in the room this morning. 2207, initial target 05, and then the second target, potential support 2201. And the last time I looked, that was where it dropped to. It dropped to the second target. So that's 6 points at $50 a point, $300 per contract traded. Once you've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, then that becomes $600. 3 contracts, it'd be the same move, 900 bucks. And here was a short on the S&P. Entry, S sell, T is initial target. On a short trade, the second, third, and fourth target will be called PS, or potential support. Because as the market is dropping, there's areas along the way where the market finds potential support. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 targets. We'll see how far this one dropped. Now we go back into yesterday, the long on silver. Okay, when silver moves $1 from $26 to $27, that's worth $5 grand if you're trading the large contract. So the entry was 26.68. Initial target 26.70. At the time she came through to do the recap, the current swing high, because this is a long, was 26.81. So from 26.68 to 26.90, if we make it at the final target, you can do the math. 2 pennies is 100 bucks. Okay. Here's gold. Now, there's 2 trades on gold. Often price, now with our strategy, you always know what the high probability move is. All markets, all time frames. Once you learn how to read price and read our indicators, which make it very simple to read the price, you always know what the next high probability move is, and occasionally price will get into a position where we know it could go either way. Often I can identify a high probability, low risk trade setup on the long side and the short side. Now, as futures traders, we don't care if it goes up or down, because you can trade futures long and short in the same session, in the same hour, if that's what the chart calls for. Now, it just so happens that on this one, 1794 to 1793, that was the short, made it to the target. I put in, you'll notice it's the same contract, but it says hedge. So we're sitting with 2 alerts in the channel, a short and a long, 1800 to 1801 to 1803. The final trade 2 targets, the weekly zone overhead at 1820/21. So from at the time Valerie did the recap, it had reached 1812.4. 1800 to 1812, that's $1,200 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, $2,400 move. There's the short on gold, and then when you see Z's, that means no trigger. In Q, this was a long entry, initial target, second, third, fourth, final trade 2 target. There's another long on silver, long on crude oil, long on the Russell. Now, this one, when she did the recap, price had reached 2220. I'm sorry, 2205. The entry was 2202. So from 02 to 05, at the time recap was done, that's a 3-point move, $50 a point, $150 per contract traded. Entry on the Dow, 3940 to 3960 to 31,070. At the time of recap, it had reached 30,981. Okay, so from the entry to where it was at the time of the recap, that's a 40-point move at $5 a point. It's $200 per contract traded. There's long on the S&P. Now, because we need to move quickly, Somebody asked this morning in the room, well, you know, can we see, is there some kind of track record? Can we see what's happened in the past? Absolutely. Where are we at right now? We just published this morning alert number 6,431. You can see every single alert that we've ever published for our members, the entry, the target, and the disposition. You know, did it get stopped out? Did it never trigger? Okay. So this is all from this week. Okay. Short on silver, short on gold, long on crude oil. And you see these pop-ups over here in the corner. That's our traders in our discussion group encouraging one another. When somebody gets their goal, they usually post. They're not bragging or boasting. They're encouraging each other and new people. It's a really friendly, family kind of an environment. And when you take our trial, you have absolute access to that. We actually let you talk to our traders. You know, I know a lot of the websites out there have these tantalizing testimonials. But you often wonder who wrote that, you know, good or bad. You got to wonder who wrote that. Is that a real person? Well, we have testimonials as well. You can find them on our BBB page. You can find them on Google. You can find them in all the places that you find that kind of stuff. But why not actually talk to a real person who was struggling to learn how to trade, who had spent all kinds of money trying to learn how to trade, found us. Now somebody has taken the time to actually teach them how to trade. I get a lot of personal satisfaction from that. I also earn a good income from that. So, you know, I don't want to be one of those guys that tell, you know, oh, life's just been good to me, or the market's been good to me, and so I just want to give back. Well, I do like giving back. I get a lot of personal satisfaction from seeing someone succeed, but it's also an income. Scripture says a man should have multiple income streams. Scripture actually says a man should have 7 income streams. The more income streams that you can create in your personal field of expertise, well, that just makes sense. Why would I go start a business that I know absolutely nothing about if I could create an income stream based on something that I have spent a lot of time with? And I've been trading futures since 2005. Before that, I traded stocks. I left the world of stock trading because of naked short selling, and that's a whole long story. Some of you may know who Patrick Byrne is. We were part of a group back in the day. We had members testify before Congress. We tried to get them to put a stop to naked short selling. It's still going on. So, long on the ST, long on the Dow, no trigger. Okay, I need to speed this up. Sunday night was January 31st. All this has happened this week. Every one of our traders had an opportunity to trade every one of these. Okay, so this is where our week started. Last week, week 130, we had 74 alerts total. 13 never triggered. We had 61 actionable alerts. 6 were stopped out based on our $300 risk profile. Now that's the max risk. Oftentimes, market structure will allow you to risk less. So 9 out of 61, I think that came out to about 14%. So last week was not a typical week because 10% were stopped out. An average week is 20%. So let's jump to a daily chart real quick of the S&P. The number I gave you guys on the show here yesterday, the number that's been overhead for some time. This morning, price had to do a couple things. It had to take out actually, we did this yesterday. We put in a new all-time historic high, intraday and closing high. And so when the Friday session started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, the first obstacle overhead was this high, 38.6975. Once price overcame that and held it on a pullback, the next obstacle is the 38% Fibonacci price extension. Because you see from here, if you look left, there's nothing to see because price has never been here before. You're looking at all-time historics. So the next spot that we expect to find resistance is 3,900. Now, Fibonacci price extensions are based on the same 14th century math that is used for Fibonacci price retracements. On this last leg up, you see this red candle that closed below the green line, the BBC, on October 26th? That didn't happen again until January 27th. Once price got above the green line, we call it the BBC. It just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we anticipate higher prices. When price crosses below it, we anticipate lower prices. So on this day, November 4th, price closed above the BBC, and we've been above it on a closing basis every day until this day. There were pullbacks along the way. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. It held here. Now on this day, there was a huge red candle all the way down, right? Found support, buyers drove it back up, so we closed above the BBC. All of these pullbacks, they hold. Eventually, one of them had to not hold. Otherwise, we'd end up with a flat sideways market, and that's not tradable, okay? So we've taken out the all-time historic high. We did that yesterday. We closed above it. We're having a bullish session. Now, this morning at the open, there was a head fake to the downside. We participated in a short trade on the S&P, and let me just go to the 30-minute chart now, but write that number down, 3,900. That's important. When we get there, there's a very high probability it's going to behave as good resistance. Now, as far as the Fibonacci price retracements go, the fibs on this last leg up, on the day that we sold off and closed below the BBC, we hit right there, the 24% fib. We expected that to be good support for reasons I'll go into you at some point if you want to learn. We bounced 30 points. When the session opened that night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we dropped to the 24% fib again, and we bounced, and buyers took us all the way up to red and falling. The other indicator you see on my chart, red and falling, blue and climbing. This represents resistance, and this represents support. The official name is the CFMA1, but you can see why I call it blue and climbing, red and falling. Blue and climbing, red and falling. And so on that day, buyers came in, bounced us all the way up to red and falling, but we closed the session below the BBC, which took us down to this area here where we anticipated support at this swing low. And it took us 2 sessions to get above this little trend line right here. And now here we sit with a high on the session of 87, looking for resistance at 3,900. Our highest weekly zone for this week is 3,930. So on the S&P, we had an alert last night, a logic 247 alert to be long 3861, okay? On the initial trigger, we ran up to 3869.75. So that's 8 3/4 points. That's what the market made available. 8 points of $50 a point, that's $400 contract traded. Price got back below the trigger. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. once an alert triggers, there's a higher probability of it triggering again, and even again, and even again. There's a higher probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. So 8 points on the first move. The second move took us right up to 38.73. So that's 12 points at $50 a point, $600 per contract traded. We pulled back to blue and climbing in the step line, which we expect to be support until proven otherwise. So that gave us another leg, another retracement. Price didn't quite make it all the way back to the BBC. And then we hit last week's weekly zone at 38.85. That did send us back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. So support, when the market finds resistance, when it can go no higher, it will turn around and go look for support. When it finds support, it will turn around and go look for resistance. So we had resistance, 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 resistance. And this morning in the room, I kept explaining to everyone, now look what happened on this pullback. We traded this candle here. It was a red candle. It ended up closing as a doji, but our entry was 38.73. Let me show you the trade. Okay, 38.73 to 38.71 to 38.70. In fact, I put that alert out twice because it looked like price might do it again. Important prices, important areas. So I'll go up to the first one that I posted this morning in the room in front of everybody. Then Valerie traded it. We got short at 38.73. Initial target, 38.71. Potential support, 38.70. See, 38.70. We spiked that just a little bit, and then buyers came in, drove us back up to the BBC. We got a BBC and we ran into resistance at red and falling. And so price starts to get pinched in between. One represents support, the other resistance, support, resistance, support. We overcame resistance. We took out the zone from last week. We took out the high of the session, and I put this window of opportunity in up here. Now, did I follow up with an additional, that was this one here, never triggered. So let's do this, and then it'll be time, it is time to talk with Bruce. So really quick. Alert number 6432. ESH 21. We want to be long. 892. Initial target will be 38, 38.92 is the entry. Initial target is 38.94. And then potential resistance. $3,900, remember from the daily chart. And then potential resistance, 39.05. And then our highest weekly trading zone for the week, 39.30 / 39.31. Okay, so that's in the channel. And again, when you're on the trial, you have access to every alert, just like this, before it triggers. Let me get Bruce's mic open.
It's not.
Or Valerie, if you're
not,
standing by, maybe you could.
That's not the.
Have you found him?
I don't think that's the right Bruce.
Oh, let me look. Let me look. Go to attendees. That's a different Bruce. Okay. All right, I've got a message going with him here in Messenger. So let me just say, are you ready? And I also gave him my Telegram address. He may have messaged me there. I don't see it. Now, Bruce will probably explain this when he comes on, but where he's living, I guess they're having some issues with electricity, power outages. And so certain hours of the day, they don't have electricity. And then they turn it back on. When he and I last chatted this morning, he said, due to come back on in 40 minutes, so I'll be ready. So, and look, Bruce, if you're listening, just message me when you're ready, either in Telegram at CFRN, the number 1, or in Telegram where you and, or I'm sorry, in Facebook Messenger where you and I have been communicating this morning. So we're ready for you. If you still need to get something together, whatever, don't feel pressured. We got plenty of stuff to cover. Okay. All right. So Valerie will keep an eye out for Bruce. And the right link. Yeah, I'm sure I did. Okay, so he'll be here momentarily. All right, so let's go back. So does everybody understand this alert? We want to be long on the S&P at 3892. Initial target 3894. Next target 3900. Next target 3905. Final trade to target is our highest weekly trading zone for the week, 3930/31. Now, perhaps you might be wondering, well, once you took out these highs, why didn't you just go long there? Here's the reason. Whenever the market puts in a nominally new high or low, you have to be very suspicious until price proves itself. Okay. All right. Now, we have two different types of alert. We have the Logic 247, which I've explained and showed to you. Those come around the clock. Our original alert service, concierge trade alerts, this is different. Okay. The concierge alerts are based on historic price action. The logical alerts are based on current price action. And the two come together beautifully. When the two do come together, that is always a point I want to stop and take a real close look, because that is going to be an extremely high probability, low risk opportunity, because you've got two separate things pointing you at the same important price, important area. If you want to grab a screenshot of these, you can. This static report is published shortly after the Globex Open. The numbers are good for the entire session. The way I teach our traders to handle them is, when published, go to your chart, put 2 lines in the sand. So watch what I do. The CTA to the long side is 38.72. 38.72. Now, the alerts were published at 6:25, so that's going to be the candle right here, 1800 hours at 6 p.m. Eastern. So the long side. Now we had already in the channel a logic alert to be long at 38.61. As I said earlier, the logic alerts will often walk you right up to the doorstep of the CTA. The CTA is forward guidance for the entire session. So once price gets above this number, the CTA 38.72. When it gets above that number and holds it on a pullback, you only want to be looking for long trades, okay? So this initial pop took us up to come on. 38.73.75. Okay, so 1 3/4 points. Price gets back below the trigger. Important prices in areas almost always tested. So we get back below the trigger, we trigger again. This time takes us up to 38.77 3/4. From 72 to 77, that's a 5-point move, $50 a point, $250 per contract traded. Price gets back below the trigger again. So we've had 1, 2, 3 triggers. You're always cautious with the first trigger. And so this one triggers 38.72, took us right up to our logic target at 38.85. So from 72 to 85, that's 13 S&P points at $15 per point. I'm sorry, $50 a point. So 13. So it's what, 650 bucks? Yeah. Now the short side, CTA, is 38.37. You want to put both lines on your chart when that static report comes out, because that gives you a framework for the entire trading session. Okay. If price is above the BBC, like it is here, okay, as the session starts, if price is above the BBC, you know it's trying to get to that CTA number overhead. If price is below the BBC, you know it's trying to get to this. So also price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. And I'll show you, back up a second here. What day are we back to? We're back to the first. All right, so weekly trading zone. Again, these are published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, since December 14th of 2009. Once price closes above a weekly zone, we know that it is now going to try and get to the zone overhead. Price is always trying to get to a zone. If you're above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone above. If it's below the BBC, you're trying to get to the zone below. And so from 37.19, price took us right up to the zone overhead at 37.50. That would be 31 points, call it 30 for the sake of simple math, at $50 a point, $1,500 per contract traded. You've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, it's $3 grand. So we get above resistance, it now becomes support. This candle here, pull back, Another pullback and resistance. Now the high of this candle is 37.51 and a quarter. Why was that the high? Because it's a weekly trading zone? Well, that would be a little arrogant, okay? The reason 37.51 and a quarter is the highest price right there is because no one was willing to pay 37.51 half. If there had been, it would have risen another tick. So when the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. Down we come. Now we expect the BBC to be good support on the pullback. And it was, even though it spiked all the way down to touch that zone, almost like an obsessive compulsive kind of thing. But you see, these candles that spiked it, they're still touching, they're still connected, joined at the hip. So this pullback in our world, and each trading group has their own little buzzwords, acronyms, abbreviations. It won't take you long to learn all of ours. They don't change. So once you learn them, you got them. So the pullback held and sent us right back up to the zone overhead at 37.50. So that's 1,500 up, 1,500 down, 1,500 back up. Price gets above the zone, we trigger. On the CTA, we had a CTA on that day to be long 37.60. Took us up to a swing high at 37.77. When price can go no higher, resistance, it will pull back to support, the BBC. Red and falling, as I said, acts as resistance. So that sent us back to the BBC looking for support. Buyers came in, got us above red and falling, took us right up to last week's zone at 37.88. We had an alert to be long at 37.85. And so we triggered once, triggered twice, triggered 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, on this one, we made it up to 37.92. And we pull back into the BBC, which took us up to the next CTA number at 38.01. A initial trigger, back below the trigger, trigger again. Took us up to the next one at 38.22. And then we went into some sideways consolidation here, where we went from last week's zone to this week's zone, back up to last week's zone. We had an ascending price channel for a while, and then we broke out of it. Okay, from the top to the bottom to the top, we didn't make it back to the bottom. When you have a price channel, and a price channel means that your trend lines are at exactly the same angle. The way you do that is you highlight one of them, you draw a trend line, you highlight it, copy it, paste it, and then don't grab it from the end because you'll change the angle. And then you just pull it into place. Okay, that's how you create a price channel. When price gets back to the middle of the channel, it's a 50-50 toss-up whether it's going to return to the top or continue to the bottom. We have additional help in that we've got this zone, we've got this weak zone. Right here, we broke out of that price channel and we triggered a little trade at 38.45. From 38.45, we got above last week's zone at 59. This is the 38.61 logic alert from last night that ran up 20 points, $1,000 per contract traded. And then we had a CTA here at 38.72. See, the logic alert walked you right up to the CTA number. And we had a short alert this morning. We traded this window of opportunity. And if price can get up to 38.92, we've got an alert in the channel just waiting to get triggered. Okay. So that's the S&P. All right. So we're 15 minutes in. I don't know if Bruce is having electrical problems. Let me go look in the YouTube discussion group and maybe he's there. Oh, I don't see him there. I'm wondering if he had an issue with his electricity. Okay, I don't see him in the YouTube channel. Let me just type a message to the people waiting there. Still waiting on Bruce. Now, where he lives, it's 9 p.m. or 9:17 p.m. Okay. Again, Bruce, if you're out there, you can reach me on Telegram at CFRN, the number 1, or Facebook, where we've been chatting this morning. I will send that alert or that invitation one more time. Make sure he got it. And then we'll keep going till he gets here. Okay, just send it to him again. All right, so we'll wait patiently for him to come and we'll just keep going. Now, on the Dow, which is the next one on the list, these are the CTA numbers. This is the static report. Okay. So we go to the Dow. Now, 3820 is a zone from this week. These two zones overhead are zones from last week, but as you can see, important prices, important areas, they can hold sway over the market for, quite some time. So I'll make this one yellow so there's no confusion. That's this week, last week, last week. Okay. Now we do have a Dow alert in the channel. And if memory serves me correct, the entry was 31,175.
That's correct.
Which is right here. And so I know, Lee, that you had a question earlier this morning. Was I sure that I wanted to put price way up there? Yeah. Yeah, because previous price action and the way that I analyze the chart, the way that I use Fibonacci price extensions told me that could be a potential area for resistance. Because I only want to put in the channel the highest probability, lowest risk opportunities that I can find. All right. So the CTA for the Dow, 31,005. All right, so this first little pop-up went to 25. So that was 20 points, $5 a point. That's your $100 per contract traded. Price got back below the trigger. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. On the second move, it went to 31,054, so that's basically 50 points, $5 a point, $250 per contract traded. Back below the trigger, and this time we touched the VBC. The pull back to the VBC holds more often than it doesn't, so we expect this to be good support. And we get 1, 2. Okay, this is our third trigger. Okay, and our third trigger takes us up to 31,120. So that's a little over 100 points at $5 a point. It's $500 per contract traded. It pulled back to last week's zone. Support, not unexpected. So we put in a high at 31,150, 149. So 140 points, $5 a point. And then once again, back below the trigger, off we go. And then back below the trigger, off we go. This is not unusual. This is common. We see this happen. If you go back and watch previous days' videos, you'll see this happens again and again and again. But not all triggers are created equal. When you have a long trigger, you want the blue and climbing on your side. Over here, now, you could take this trigger, but you got to be very, very careful because red and falling represents resistance. So this was a big green candle at one point, but by the time the 30-minute period was over, price drew back down to last week's zone. Okay, so resistance, resistance, resistance. Finally, we close above red and falling. So looking left now, we've got potential resistance here and here. And we have an alert in the channel right now that'll allow us to take advantage of this window of opportunity up here. Next on the list is the Russell. Okay, the number last night, the Russell CTA was 2209. CTA 2209. And from 2209, the swing high was 2223. So that would be 14 points at $50 a point. Price gets back below the trigger, triggers again, but same scenario with red and falling overhead. You got to keep it on a short leash. Okay, it's not that you can't take the trade, but you have to know that as price approaches this area, potential resistance. And now we've pulled back to the BBC. So what's the next high probability move? To the zone overhead. If support holds, support held here, we always anticipate the pullback to the BBC is going to hold, but we know that there will be times when it doesn't hold. Our alerts reach their target. Well, they fail to reach their target 20% of the time. Over the last 6,000, however many it is, trades over the last 131 weeks, everything documented very carefully. We're completely transparent because we want you to feel comfortable if you've been through the rooms and the gurus and the endless indicators and the endless upsells. We went through all that too back in the day. And it's a lot worse, it's a lot more vicious, it's a lot more unscrupulous today than it was back then. That's why we try to create a safe, family-friendly environment where we put all the cards on the table very transparent about everything we do. Never do we do woulda, coulda, shoulda stuff. Okay, anybody can look like a genius with a historic chart. So for me to come on here and talk about this move would just really be an insult to your intelligence had we not notified all of our traders about this before it happened. And the same with this, and the same with everything. All right, I think I might have just got a message from Bruce. Power comes on in 3 minutes. Entire grid is off. It's called load shedding. It's a reality in South Africa. Okay, let me just tell him, no worries. Take your time. Okay, so we got a chance to go to one more market before Bruce comes on. Let's go to the NQ. All right, last night on the NQ, the CTA number was 13601. And that happened CTA 13601. All right, got a swing high at 13,618. So that's a 17-point move at $20 a point. It's $340 per contract traded. You've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, 680 bucks. Initial move. Here, okay, price does trigger, but you're pushing up through resistance, red and falling. So this is one you just probably wouldn't trade. Over here, price has overcome the BBC. When red and falling starts to turn up, becomes blue and climbing, okay? And so from the trigger at 01 to the swing high, 1638.5, so that's 37 points. 37. At $20 a point, $740 per contract traded. 2 contracts, 1,400 bucks. Okay. Now, let's go to crude oil. Is that the next on my list? Yep. Here's crude. Okay. CTA number last night for crude oil was 56.65. That happened down here. See how price keeps coming back to the trigger? I've showed you on market after market. 56.65. There we go. CTA. 56.65. Now, the alerts came out at 25 after, so we got to find the 1800 candle. It was in the life of this candle right here that it came out. So let me just drag this across like that. And it's 56.65. Okay, so we triggered and put in a swing high at 56.84. Okay, one more tick, 85. That would be $200 per contract traded. Back below the trigger. This time you're dealing with red and falling. Okay, this time you're above red and falling. So 56.65 takes us up to 50, we call it 57.05. So that would be 25, 30, or 35 points. That sound right? $350 per contract traded. Price gets back below the trigger, triggers again. This time it goes to 88, so call it 85. So that's $200 per contract traded. And then it gets back below the trigger. It goes all the way up to 57.25. So that would be 35 and 25. So this is a $550 per contract move. And then it got back below the trigger again and did it again. And on this pullback, we found support at the BBC. So we may or may not trigger again. If we should drop below the trigger and trigger again, then red and falling is resistance. Okay. Gold. Last night's CTA for gold was to be long at 1813. I think that's the same number as our logic alert this morning. $18.13. And the swing high is $18.16. So that's a $300 per contract move right there. And it's, triggering again. And so if you participate in this trigger, potential resistance is right there. And then looking left, no obstacles in your way, right up to the zone or the weekly trading zone at 1820/21. All right. Silver is the only market we haven't covered yet. So Bruce, running just a little bit late. That worked out just fine because it gave us a chance to get through all the markets. If you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, just put them in the chat box. Nobody sees what you type, but me and Valerie, Bert, if he's here. I think Michael's off doing a meeting. So there was a CTA last night on silver at 26.50. $26.50. Okay. CTA 26.50. Michael teaches you the mechanics, how to put on and take off the trades. I give you the trade opportunities. And as you take what Michael teaches you and apply it to what I give you over and over in your simulator until you learn the strategy and put together your 10 days in a row, you know how to do it and you know where to do it. The goal being is that you learn how to spot these opportunities yourself. We want you to get to the point where you don't need us, okay? We want you to continue to hang around because membership is a lifetime. And we've built a great community of people. It's such a friendly, supportive environment. And they're real people, just like you, who showed up on our doorstep, beaten, battered, broken, because they've been misled, lied to, mistreated. When Michael and I decided that we were going to create a place where everyone would be treated with dignity and respect. Okay, this is coming in. I just got the little ding. So I'll take this chart down. All these charts. Now, after we finish talking to Bruce, I'll still be around for a little bit. So if you have questions about something regarding Emini Futures trading, I'll be happy to take those questions after we speak to Bruce. So let me find him here in the audience. He's still coming in. Okay. So look where we're at on the daily chart on the S&P. Got a high on the session, 38.88 1/4. And our trigger in the alert channel is 38.92. So we had a leg, we had a retracement to the step line, Step line is potential support. Blue and climbing is potential support. And if it makes it all the way to the BBC, we expect that to be support. Okay. So now we have an obstacle overhead. The obstacle being the high of this candle, 88.25. Could you trade 86 to 88? Absolutely. No reason not to. If you haven't gotten your goal for the day. Now, I talked to you earlier about discipline, self-discipline, patience, part of the 24/20 blueprint, along with helping you go from 1 to 20 contracts over a period of 24 months. It also walks you through the process of creating your business plan and your trading plan. Now, if you ever wondered why 9 out of 10 new traders fail, number one, they don't have anyone to teach them. They don't have a business plan, and they don't have a trading plan. Heck, they don't even know they need one, okay? The barrier to entry is so low in trading, people get lured in and lose all their money, okay? If you don't get an education here, get one somewhere. If you wanted to become a doctor, you know you're going to have to go to college for quite a number of years and spend quite a bit of money to get that degree so that you can practice medicine, right? If you want to be a pilot or an engineer or an attorney, whatever your dream is, it's just common knowledge. You got to go to school, and the instructors and the professors, they've got to teach you how to do whatever it is you want to learn how to do. But trading, for some reason, people see that differently. 9 out of 10 people who get exposed to trading go, whoa, man, I'm gonna kill it. Let's get busy. Fund an account, start trading, get wiped out. About 1 out of 10 people will look at trading and go, that's a pretty incredible opportunity. I better find somebody who can teach me how to do this. The people who think that way become the 1 out of 10 who actually succeed as a trader. Now, those statistics do not apply inside the walls of CFRN, because our philosophy is no trader left behind. Once you become a member, not only do you have access to the live training every day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, but you can book a one-on-one mentoring session as you need it. Wherever you need help, we're there to help you. No upsells, one money, one time, that's it. Lifetime membership. If you want to get started, go to Emini. Where'd my post-it note go? That is no longer available. I'll show you what is available. Here it is. Sometimes my post-it note gets unstuck. If you've taken the trial, go here to get started, eminifuturestrading.com. If you've never taken the trial, go to eminitrainingschool.com. All right. Let's see, is Bruce here? Ah, there he is. Okay, Bruce, the only thing we're missing is your microphone. I see that you've logged in. I just don't see a little microphone icon next to your name. I do now. Now let me unmute you from my end. Okay, it says that you're muted on your end. So as soon as you're ready, let me know. Okay, you've got an open mic.
Great.
Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yes.
I can hear you. Yeah, if you can, I don't know if you have a way, if you can turn your volume up just a little bit.
How's that, Dwayne? Is it coming through a bit stronger?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Bruce, thanks so much for coming and joining us today. I know you have a busy schedule, a lot going on. but we really appreciate you taking the time. Most of my audience is following the official Price Maker channel. To get to actually meet you and talk with you for a little bit. It's a treat for me as well as the rest of the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about Bruce all week, that he would be on the show. I've given you background information on who he is, but maybe, Bruce, you could introduce yourself and tell us how you got into this world of cryptocurrency, and we'll take it from there.
Dwayne, thank you so much for having me on your show. And again, thank you for all the support that you and your community bring to, to our coin, to our project, to our platform. It really is it's an honor to be on a show like this. Dwayne, I originally come out of a little kingdom in Africa called Swaziland. It's one of the last absolute monarchies here in Africa. Grew up in a farming community, eventually came across to South Africa for university and got into teaching, working with scholars and students. Eventually got invited into church ministry, ended up planting churches with my wife and 3 kids. At the same time, had moved into Forex trading. So was trading Forex and planting churches and starting up 2 businesses as well, which is probably too much. Now, I certainly wouldn't advise that on anybody. And then started going through burnout in about 2016, realized I'd definitely overextended myself. As a new father with 3 kids in 3.5 years, started waving the flag that needed to step out of some of the things we were doing. And one of the things was it was time to hand our church over to a strong leadership that we'd been working with for 3 years. So the timing, I think the timing was good, but possibly I was not. And so I went through an all fall down. I went through a proper burnout. It was a day-night experience. One moment I thought I was okay and coping, and the next moment I was not. And here's my advice to anyone watching this show. I mean, if you've gone through that, maybe on the YouTube channel after this, if you're listening to it as a replay, type out burnout. I think more people need to talk about this. More people need to be aware of the flags around it. But I certainly went through burnout and made bad decisions, business decisions in that same window. And we lost everything, Dwayne. We had to start over again. I remember phoning my parents who lived in another town, another city about 30 minutes away, and just saying, I've hit rock bottom. I've hit rock bottom within a 24 to 48 hour period. And we had a reset. I know many people are going through a reset right now. We're seeing economic environment is resetting. We're seeing corporate structures resetting. We're seeing financial houses and banks resetting. I went through that reset the end of 2016, at the beginning of 2017, and had to start over again. Had to start from the ground up. Now, the beautiful thing about a reset, so there is a definite positive here. The beautiful thing about a reset is that you're exceptionally open to rebuilding. Your foundation slab is bare. And as daunting as that sounds, it was also something that had a lot of potential. And at the same time, cryptocurrencies really started headlining. There was this main, I wouldn't say mainstream, but I would say groundswell coming through. And we ended up seeing that bull run. Very, very big awareness there. So I completely fell into cryptocurrencies more because I was aware and looking for opportunity. I'd love to say that I was an early adopter. I certainly wasn't, but I think the saying goes, when is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago and today.
Right. Exactly.
And,
20 years ago and today, right? If you didn't plant it 20 years ago, plant it today.
That's exactly it. So that was my starting point. I'd missed Bitcoin when it first started, but I certainly didn't miss it in 2017. And so I've been embedded since. I've had the privilege of being able to travel to America, to the States. I've gone across into Europe multiple times, across into Australia, Malaysia, Thailand. I got invited into local universities just to speak on blockchain, the real magic behind cryptocurrencies. And it's been an incredible, sharp, beautiful learning curve. There are so many good people out there that are putting themselves sometimes in the firing line and sometimes in the spotlight to really give voice to this incredible technology. And I think if people are aware, if they're listening, there's some great people to follow out there. And that's all I've done. I've positioned myself as a student. I want to learn as much as possible. But Dwayne, I think, as you know, when anything is new, it's easy for a student to also have a voice and have fellow students come along. And that's really where I found myself today. I'm possibly a student who's maybe one day ahead of a whole lot of new students. And really my role is to pass what I know to the next tier, who pass it to the next tier. And that's how we create groundswell. That's how we create mass adoption, is really educating people into this space. So Dwayne, that's it. I mean, that's really my background and how I arrived at this point. And yeah, that's my family there. You pulled up the Facebook. Yeah, those are my 3 boys, my beautiful wife.
Yeah, you got a beautiful family there. 2 buzzwords that people hear, because mass adoption is on the way. I mean, we're to the point now where, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a few minutes, debit cards. Because in the beginning of Bitcoin, people were like, well, where can I spend it? What can I do with it? It was just a store of value, but now cards are coming out, debit cards that are tied to your cryptocurrency accounts. So basically any place that accepts Visa or MasterCard, you can swipe your card just like you would the debit card that's tied to your checking account. And while you're going to pay that retailer in US dollars or euro or Canadian dollars, wherever you happen to be, it's being deducted from your crypto account. Now, this was something we all dreamed about many years ago. It's actually become a reality. But before we get into that, maybe you could help people understand. People have heard about cryptocurrency, they've heard about blockchain. What's the difference in the 2?
That's a great question. So, I'm not going to go into the technicals on this because there are many ways to approach this answer, but I want to keep this in layman's terms. Your cryptocurrency is the currency, the coin, the token that represents all the value, all the use, all the services, depending on the application of the blockchain, that the blockchain built behind that coin is able to put into the marketplace. Now, probably the best comparison I can draw to this is, because I think this is helpful for people who come out of the traditional spaces, your cryptocurrency is your share, and your blockchain is the products, the services, the company, the mechanisms, the factory floor, the intellectual property that represents all the different services, products, etc. behind that coin. It's your share to your company. It's your share to everything the company produces. And that's the difference. Blockchain is the technology that can create lots of products and services, and the token represents that specific blockchain. So an example of Bitcoin, Bitcoin really has a single use, and that is currently as a very secure. When I say very secure, it's not got a solid 10 and a bit history of security behind it. It's a very secure mechanism of exchange, and some people will hold that mechanism of exchange for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the Bitcoin itself, and others will use it daily. So that's the blockchain behind Bitcoin. But if we go and look at maybe an Ethereum, because that's now the second most well-known crypto, Ethereum is the coin that represents this massive technology, the Ethereum blockchain, that allows other developers, other service providers to build onto that technology. Now, imagine an example where somebody who wanted to have a transparent vote. I mean, I think this is relevant to the US political playing field at the moment. Imagine if you could go online, you could place your vote with your voting token, and real time that vote is balloted, and you can never ever go and vote again because your token is tied back to your ID, which means you're in it. It's there. It can't be duplicated, it can't be replicated, it can't be manipulated in any way, shape, or form. Somebody can go and build onto the Ethereum to create that application. So the cryptocurrency is the value of the token, the coin, like a share, that represents a technology, that represents product, services, platforms. Very similar to how a share represents a company with product, services, and platforms. Is that a fair answer, Dwayne, without going into too much?
No, it's very good. I was just listening because I get asked the question all the time, and I'm always looking for, I want to explain it. I'm sure you know what an elevator pitch, when somebody asks you what your, this business, this startup that you've got going, if you can't help them understand it in the time it takes to go from one floor to the next, you don't have an elevator pitch, and you need to simplify it. It needs to be something that people can understand. So I think you did a great job. And I'll continue to work on my way of explaining it. How do you think cryptocurrency is going to impact the world going forward? On the first run up, I don't know if you participated in, well, we first talked about this, about Bitcoin, this show, back around 12 cents. Now, we talked a lot about it, but we didn't buy, okay? Sad to say, but we are always transparent. We always want to be honest. We were at much higher prices when we started to buy, but we saw the run up to 20,000, and we saw the crash to 3,000, the retracement, the pullback, whatever term you want to call it. What I want to make sure everybody understands is that rally up to 20,000 was retail traders, by and large, speculators, but this time it's different. Now, I know everybody always hear, oh, this time it's different. Well, it's different this time for a reason, and this time, the rally that we're seeing, Bitcoin, I think we might be at all-time highs today. Let me just bring it up on the screen. This is institutional money at work. Okay. No, we're not at all. No, I'm sorry, not all-time highs, but our high today, 38,349. Here's the all-time high right here. Were you in that first run up, or did you come in on the second run where the institutions started to get involved?
Dwayne, so I was there with the retail run. I mean, that was when we were all excited, and it was boys in their basements and girls hoping for cars. it was everybody backing a horse that looked exciting. What we're seeing right now, though, is, and we've seen it happening over the last 18 months. I mean, that's really where we started seeing the build up in language and conversation. Is we started seeing financial houses realizing that their clients were withdrawing money from their investments and moving it into cryptocurrency, and so they had to respond to that. They had to offer a cryptocurrency to their clients. They had to go to their clients and say, we're going to take 12% of your entire portfolio and put it into Bitcoin. We're going to take 10% of your portfolio and put it into Bitcoin. And the reason why Bitcoin, and this is important to understand, is Bitcoin is your international currency. It's the dollar, how the dollar is to the rest of the world, Bitcoin is to the rest of cryptocurrency. And so institutions,
the world reserve currency is the US dollar. How long it's going to remain the world's reserve currency, that's probably a topic for another day and another show. But I think many of us have concerns about that, because let's face it, the US dollar is backed by nothing. By the goodwill of the American people. Other fiat currencies are also based on nothing. And so whoever is the first one to develop a currency backed by something, and there's lots of talk about China backing their currency with gold. If that happens, then the United States will lose its reserve currency status. And that should concern everyone because China holds more of US debt than anyone else in the country, except for the US taxpayers. But so everyone's heard about Bitcoin. Most people have heard about Ethereum. There's an app out there now that allows you, when you go shopping, to have your change given. Let's say you go to the grocery store to buy bread and milk, and it's $19.50, and you hand the cashier a $20. If you've paid with a certain card, then your change comes back to you, not as 2 quarters, but it comes back to you as cryptocurrency, as BTC or Ethereum. The app's called Lolly. It's already working with retail vendors, but my understanding is it's coming to, it's online vendors, it's available, but it's coming to your local supermarket and grocery store. And I say that because I want everybody to understand that mass adoption hasn't happened yet. But all signs point to mass adoption, and it's coming, and when it does, when it hits, you're going to know it, and it's going to be a big thing. Now, we all hear the term Bitcoin, and some people have heard Ethereum, but there are an awful lot of other cryptocurrencies out there. Some with good use cases, some with not such good use cases. But the thing that's brought you and I together for this conversation today is a cryptocurrency called G999. Can you educate our audience a little bit about G999 and what makes you think that it is important and perhaps different from other cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, Dwayne, so I'm going to preface it by giving context of the 2 wealth transfers that we're witnessing so that we understand where G999 fits in. So it's important for us to understand where we are in the world of cryptocurrency. So as you've said, we've come through the retail buy, we're now entering institutional buying, and your financial institutions are using Bitcoin as their first step into cryptos. So that's the first wealth transfer that we're seeing. But then in order to be responsible to their client base, to their investor base, they need to be able to diversify. And so we'll see a second transfer into the next group of cryptocurrencies. Now, financial houses need to tick certain boxes. They need to move their investor base into cryptocurrencies that have longevity and sustainability. And so for them, they're not looking at coins that are spiking 20,000% overnight. They're looking for coins that have solid use case. Which are the coins that are going to be here in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time? Which are the coins that are built on blockchains that are going to develop mainstream products and services? Which are the blockchains that people are going to stream movies on? Which are the blockchains that people are going to be receiving emails and setting up chat groups on? Which are the emails that people are going to put their music royalties on? You've got to have blockchains that have real world use case. And so your financial houses, we're seeing a movement through the likes of MicroStrategy, JP Morgan, Fidelity, Blackstone. We've just seen BlackRock go and apply for the SEC licensing to offer its cryptos to their client base as well. We're seeing that first move into Bitcoin, but then there's a second move coming. And this is where we need to be educated on what are the coins that we are looking at in order to take advantage of the second move. Because Bitcoin is a great beginning point, but it's not the end point. The end point is balance portfolio into greatest use case technology. And this is where G999 is very cleverly positioning itself. It's also an open source blockchain, which means any developers can build any products and services on it. It's got a deflationary model in it, which is how the US dollar was originally built. I mean, the US dollar, and again, I always want to use the US dollar on the show because I can see the user base is predominantly North American, but the US dollar has a printing machine that prints new bills, but it's also got facilities that are burning bills out the system. Now, in a perfect world, you should have equilibrium, or you should have deflation, where the value of the dollar should grow based on demand and supply, either a larger community needing less or a growing community having a growing coin at a ratio that keeps the supply elastic. Unfortunately, that's under people management. You know, it takes one person signing off a piece of paper and you can print more bills than you burn. What we've got in G999 is a coded algorithm that no person can go and change now. It's set in place where there is a finite number of coins that enter the economy, and then there's an elastic supply of coins that exit the economy, they get burnt off. And I say elastic because the more products and services on this blockchain, the more coins get burnt over time. So G999 is the best of open source technology, the best of a deflationary model, and then it's got a very rare advantage. It's got a strong community behind it. You know, we've just seen Dogecoin have a massive price spike, a big drive, because there's a community that believes in that coin. They're behind that project. We saw, and I love that you're bringing the charts up here. Look at this. It's unbelievable. Well, the chart lovers out there, the only reason this is possible is not because there's great technology behind this. This isn't open source. It's not deflationary. It's had no development on this blockchain in the last 3-4 years, but there's a very strong community behind it. You know, so that ticks one of the 3 boxes. But
it's the power of community. Yes, I agree.
I mean, we saw GameStop. We basically, GameStop was such a good example of a bunch of teenagers, really, if you go look at the numbers coming out, and then some mid-30s and sub-30s all deciding to go, let's play the game against Wall Street traders. And they've understood community. This is what social media has done. It's solidified an entire generation around community. That's what social media have done. And what we've seen is communities being able to galvanize behind you know, political rallies, behind charity drives. And now we're seeing communities galvanizing behind things that they own, shares that they own, cryptocurrencies that they own. And G999 is a good example of this. It's got a big established community, and it's arrived at market with that community. It's arrived at market as an open source technology. It's arrived at market as a deflationary model. So it's a fairly, I don't want to say unique, but I do want to say it's got a whole lot of unique attributes that it's borrowed from best practice that we've seen in the marketplace from other coins.
How large do you think the G999 community is?
Well, I think there's 3 different ways to measure that. We can measure it in registered wallets that came through the G999 native exchange, and that was just under 60,000 wallets. We're also able to measure it through their partner program. So they do have a partner program in place. In other words, they're not trying to create a customer base. They're not trying to create a user base. They're trying to create a community base, and they're rewarding that. And that partner program sits at just under 60,000 people as well. And then if you go take a look at our Telegram channel, there's over
right
14.
Here.
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
one. Yeah, that's over 14,000 subscribers. Now, here's a fun exercise. Type in bitcoin.com news in your Telegram. I mean, that's a big public channel. It releases news around different articles all the time. If you were to do a search in your Telegram on bitcoin.com news.
Okay, search it on what now? Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.com news.
.com news.
It's a big public, you need to get out of the price maker channel. Yeah. But the reason why I'm asking you to do that is I want you just to remember that we've got 14,000 subscribers on this one coin. Bitcoin.com. Yeah, there you go. News, bitcoin.com. You can click on that. Useful to see subscribers here, 34,000.
Wow.
So this is around anything general. I mean, this is if you want to find out about politics in certain countries that are being affected by cryptos, if you want to look at a recent regulatory declaration, if you want to look at an event that's happening, I mean, all things crypto and blockchain happen on here. It's sitting at 34,000 subscribers. We've got 14,000 around one coin, one project.
Wow, that's incredible. And this is an interesting article that just popped up. One Dogecoin address just absorbed 27% of the supply. The top 20 addresses own 50%. Now, over the last few days, we've heard some big names who said they, didn't believe in cryptocurrency, have changed their tune. Mark Cuban. Let's see. I don't know that Elon Musk was ever publicly against it, but he's suddenly become very bullish, and he's put out a few posts of late. Warren Buffett, he was very much anti-crypto a couple years ago. My understanding is that he now owns some crypto, and since it's Warren Buffett, he probably owns quite a bit. But the numbers and folks, the news.bitcoin.com, 34,000 subscribers, the official price maker channel, which is focused on just one coin, the G999, 14,000 subscribers. What do you think the future holds? Now, maybe you could talk a little bit about the actual price maker strategy. How does that work? I've been following along all of your posts, all of your videos, sharing them with all of my followers, but yeah, maybe you could just give us a thumbnail sketch of the actual strategy, what it is we're trying to do, and maybe what the the milestones are that we're working towards.
So the price maker strategy is it's a channel that was put in place to unify and consolidate what was a fairly fragmented community. We had all come into the G999 coin through another project, and we consolidated it all under one roof, under one coin, under one new mainnet. And part of the price maker channel was to bring people on a journey that's now been, I think, close to 22 weeks, but bring people on a journey going into the launch of the coin, going onto exchanges, and then having clear goals once the coin is live on exchanges that we can direct our energy, our resources, our time towards. Now, the goals are very simple, and I'm happy to outline them over here. The 5 goals are: we want to ensure that all coin holders who came through the ICO phases in 2018 and 2019 break even. And that's a fairly good goal, because what we have seen in previous ICOs, people come through an ICO and then the coin absolutely crashes. People cash out at a loss because they no longer believe in it, and they go look for something else. And so what we wanted to do was start educating our community on, let's be the community who rides us through. Let's be the community who breaks even on the ICO, first goal. Second goal is to make sure that we 2x our growth. So our break-even point was 25 cents. 2x growth takes it to 50 US dollar cents, and then we wanted to get it up to the $1 mark. Now, based on market cap, etc., that would start breaking us into the top 100 coins, and then start moving us towards the top 10 coin. And all of this sounded like pie in the sky at the time. When we were talking to the community about this, there had not been a GameStop, there had not been Dogecoin, we hadn't seen Silver Squeeze, we hadn't seen the Ripple community gathering around a very fragmented and understrained corporate team decide to gather around their own coin and drive that up. We hadn't seen any of that yet. And so we were speaking into being something that had never happened in the cryptocurrency world. And it's a tough one, because we've got a generation of people who've come through this project who are not your social media generation. They're the generation who've been blue collar and white collar, corporates, punching the hours and being told to put your head down and work hard, and for heaven's sake, do not go and believe for something bigger, and don't unify around a cause. Punch out and get your pension.
Right. I agree.
The causes ended in the 70s, and then there was this big vacuum. Big vacuum came in, and so it really has been an education process, and it's been numerically based. Every week we've wanted to show the numbers. We've wanted to explain what stock to flow ratios are. We wanted to explain how the markets work and really simplify it. There's two parties out there. There's people selling, there's people buying. When there's more buyers than sellers, a coin will go up. When there's more sellers than buyers, a coin will go down. It's just putting the basics into our community. The coin's been live for 2 months, and the community have been watching. I think everybody's a very good spectator. It's why NFL is so popular, because you've got a lot more people in the stands than you do on the field. But now they're starting to see that this is a team sport. And again, I want to say GameStop, Dogecoin, Silver Squeeze, Ripple went in and beat us to the punch on this. But they've also gone and proven the concepts.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I'm so glad it happened. I didn't own any GameStop. I didn't catch the big move in Dogecoin, but I got in at a price that has me smiling today. So I'll leave it at that. Same with XRP and a number of others. Now, the official price maker strategy, what kind of a timeline are you working with? When will the next step be? What will the next step be? And those who are in our audience today or listening after the fact, what should they be doing? Should they be accumulating? Should they be waiting to some specific point in time to start accumulating? Help us understand that.
There's quite a few moving parts with any movement, and again, I think a useful thing for this community is probably to get onto the Reddit thread surrounding GameStop and really go have a read through the amount of language, the amount of preparation that happened building up to that. And so here's really, I think, the three things that every person can do. One is, in order to drive the price of anything up, you need to be accumulating that thing, and in this particular case, G999. You need to be buying 999 with a buying community at the same time in order to break down sell walls. And so my first piece of advice to people is stock up on Bitcoin, stock up on Ethereum, stock up on a cryptocurrency that you can purchase G999 with. That's your starting point. The second starting point is be aware of the exchanges that it's on, and be aware of where the largest sellers are and where the smallest sellers are, because it's much easier to drive the price of something if you're not having to break through so many sell walls. So we have a lot of the community looking at some of the smaller exchanges like South Exchange, exchanges like CoinSuper, exchanges like BitXLife. The coin is on HitBTC, which is one of the largest exchanges globally. It is on Bitforex, and it is on its own native exchange.
It is on HitBTC now, because I'm actually a member of that channel, and I don't think I've looked at it in a few days. Let's try that again. HitBTC. Here we go. 10,500. We have the official price maker channel has more subscribers, more members than HBTC. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but we're in the process of opening our own exchange. We've been the Christian Traders brand for quite some time, since 2000, and we're in the process of setting up our own exchange. It will be a small exchange. We won't be another Coinbase. We won't be a custodial type exchange. It will be non-custodial. And for folks in the audience who don't know what that means, a custodial exchange like Coinbase, you can purchase crypto there, and they will hold onto it and keep it and store it for you. A non-custodial exchange is a place where you go to do a transaction, whatever that transaction might be, whether it's buying Bitcoin or trading your Ethereum for Dogecoin, whatever. But you always maintain custody of your cryptocurrency. So our exchange will be a non-custodial exchange, and I do have, every plan of adding G999 to our exchange. Hope our launch date right now is about 3 weeks out. We might get it done in 2 weeks, but those are our plans. And so that'll just be one more exchange where people will have access to the G999. What kind of, you wrote an article the other day, you talked about mindset. Can we touch on that for just a moment?
Yeah, Dwayne, we can definitely talk about mindset. Yeah, well, what specifically are you wanting to go into here? And I have that that terrible curse of wanting to write a lot about mindset, because I think it is just mission critical for every person. I think our minds are being made up for us a lot through what we're reading and what we're tracking on social media. So give me a bit of a hint here, Dwayne. Where do you want me to go with mindset?
Well, mindset in regards to crypto, how should people approach it? Should people be trying to accumulate Bitcoin and Ethereum? I know you've already said that in the discussion, but should that be their main focus, to start accumulating as they learn? Should they try to get an education first? Because I know that a lot of folks in the audience, they're interested in crypto now. They want to get involved. They don't know where the safest place is to start. In many cases, they don't know how to start. What I don't want them to have is the mindset of they're going to get rich overnight. I want them to see this as a lifetime process. Just as you build your own investment portfolio and you diversify amongst stocks and bonds. So I guess it's on that level that I want to talk about mindset.
Great. Okay, that's perfect. I love this because I think we can draw comparisons with every person's experience up till now before cryptocurrency. Now, when we all left school, college, university, and went into the workspace, and we received that first check, that first payment, that first salary wage, we didn't run off to the races. We didn't run off to a local forex trader. We didn't even run off to an uncle who was an investor. What we did is we would have banked some of it and then bought some of our living, groceries, paid rent, etc. with it. That's the first thing you do with your first paycheck. And it should be the same for cryptos. We've seen so many people get into crypto and want to sprint into trading, sprint into investing, sprint into these different platforms that they have zero experience or knowledge on. In other words, people are wanting to be the quickest and the best without even having walked yet. I think what we need to do is stop this Ferrari Schumacher mentality. We need to pump the brakes on that, and we need to go back to the basics. And so here's what the basics should be. Every person should understand that they should open an account that they remain in control of. That is their savings account. It is their wallet. It is where they will start in their cryptocurrency journey. That's key one. And part of that means that you decide on the percentage that you'll always hold in that. We call that a buffer. You know, if you've got a 1 month buffer worth of cryptos, or a 6 month or a 12 month, you should be increasing that savings, that buffer always, that you can access if you need to liquidate it, you know, for something important or on a rainy day. That's starting point one. Starting point two is then plugging into shows like this, plugging into paid for academies like the one that we're busy setting up for the moment, plug into communities that are driving around common purposes so that you can be educated on the next step. What does it look like to take the other portion of your savings and now diversify it? And what are the coins that I should have in my portfolio? And from there, you start watching the markets, because the moment you've bought something for the next 3, 5, 10 years, you become aware of what the markets are doing. From there, you can then scale into, what if I bought something for a shorter time period? What if I'm buying something for the next 6 months? Now you're going into the trading space. You're starting to look at those markets over shorter periods of time. So we need to help people slow down, pump the brakes. Let's stop being Schumacher and Ferrari. Let's really slow down and get the basics in place. Are you in charge of your coins? Are you the custodian? Do you have a savings plan around it? Step two, what does your investment portfolio look like? And I don't mean 30 to 50 different coins. That's called horse racing. I mean, what is your investment portfolio? What are the 3 to 5 coins that you've taken the time to go and research, that you've looked at the application behind it, the strength of community, the strength of marketplace? In other words, how many other communities, investment houses, etc., are looking at it? That's a portfolio. And then potentially the third step is looking at you know, the trading around that. That'll start giving you a good understanding. Then we can start talking about DeFi and a whole nother shift that we're seeing towards a really decentralized financial system that's coming through the ranks. But my big cry to everybody at the moment is slow down in order to speed up. I think the Navy SEALs say it best: slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. And most people I talk to have not had that experience. They've thrown their money at a scam. They've lost money through, you know, somebody promising some ridiculous return. You know, slow down, please. Let's slow down. Let's get people into wallets. Let's get people where they can spend out of their wallet. That's why I'm excited about the MasterCard and Visas coming through. You know, let's consolidate, educate, and then from there we can start building.
What can you tell us about the lifestyle card that is being offered by GS Partners? And then maybe we can talk a little about the upcoming IPO.
Okay, great. So the lifestyle card is it's a provider that has the MasterCard licensing that allows us to spend our cryptocurrencies, but it's so much more than that. I mean, that's very surface level. If we had to lift up the hood on this card and take a look at the platform behind it, what we end up finding is a card that allows us to move between different cryptocurrencies. So essentially, we've got an exchange. We've also got a card that allows us to move through different fiats. So now we've got a currency exchange. And then we can move between fiats and crypto as well. So now we've got a cross-currency exchange. Then we go and look at the booking platform that's built into it. So now we've got a retail market where we can go get discounted accommodation at different hotels around the world. We've got a concierge service where you can get your concierge provider to go and find best flights if you wish to travel, or you know, restaurants in your area that has the best ribs. We've got retail partners on that platform: Adidas, Amazon. What is that large retail? Nordstrom. There's some retailers that are coming on. In other words, there are partner companies that are wanting to really tap into growing cryptocurrency communities. And what the GS Lifestyle Card has done is it's gone, this isn't just a spend mechanism. This is an economic mechanism. How do we bring real world use across multiple applications with this one card? How do we have an exchange between multiple currencies? How do we have spending platforms? How do we have a cashback policy where essentially we're a peer-to-peer banking system that gets paid back a portion of the fees? This is a very unique offering. And when people start understanding that, I think what it'll do is probably set the pace or the tone for some of the other offerings we're seeing out there, because we're seeing Bitcoin.com's got their own Visa card launching. YRX has been in the market for a while now. Zappo, XAPO has taken ground in Europe as well. But those are just the most, it's answering the most basic need, which is crypto straight into be able to spend it. But we've moved beyond that. You know, my own bank offers me more services than that. Right now, my fiat bank allows me to get cheaper tickets on planes. I can go and sit in, you know, the travel lounges. I can get better fees when I move between different currencies. I've got different spend limits. All of that's possible because banks have been around for a while. What GS Lifestyle have done is they've gone, okay, we need a massive liquidity pool to be our own bank. And then they've built a platform to represent that liquidity pool. And that's what we have access to at GS Lifestyle. We have
banks are trying to figure out a way to survive right now.
Yeah, look, and I think what banks will do is they'll have to follow the lead of the financial houses. Unfortunately, and this is this is an opinion, but I think it's an opinion shared by many, is that a lot of their spend have gone into outdated systems that have been made moot by blockchain, and now they're playing catch up.
At the conference, either this week or last week, in Davos, the big economic summit that's held every year, where the world leaders attend, one of the speakers, there were 2 sessions devoted to cryptocurrency, and the speaker at one of the sessions was the CEO of Western Union. Because we probably all at some point in our life have had to send money to someone in another state or another country. So you've got to go down to the Western Union office or to the MoneyGram office, and most Walmarts here in America have a MoneyGram window where I think on average, if you wanted to send somebody $100, cost you $10, maybe a little more nowadays, because you have to have that third-party intermediary to make that transaction happen, so that you send $100 here in Phoenix, Arizona, and someone at my orphanage in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, can go to the equivalent window there and actually get the cash in their hand. Blockchain takes away the need for that third-party intermediary. So Western Union is scrambling quickly to try and reinvent themselves. They make a huge amount of money every year just in the United States from people who come up from Mexico to earn a living, to support their families back home. I brought it up on the show the other day. I think it was like $30 billion was sent from the United States to Mexico last year in remittances from people that I just described, who came here to earn a living and are now sending money back home to support their families. Well, obviously Western Union gets a, whatever percentage it is out of those total remittances. And as mass adoption happens and people realize they don't need Western Union and Gram, all they need is a wallet, and your friend or relative or the person running your orphanage across the world, as long as they've got a wallet, from your wallet to their wallet, pretty much like that. And now they can take their card and they can go spend it at any merchant that accepts, the Visa, MasterCard logo. Am I correct in that?
That's exactly correct, yeah. With the remittance,
this is so huge. It's hard not to get excited. I'm always reining my enthusiasm in. I don't like to get carried away. But it's hard when you think about where we stand at this moment in time, at this industry. We're seeing a change, an evolution in what money is, how money is used. It's bigger than big. I'm rarely one at a loss for words, but maybe you can put it into eloquent words, because honestly, my audience hears me go on and on about it all the time. But this is truly life-changing. And one of the small groups that I'm involved with, the Golden Journey, it's a group of people who are focused on Africa, and we're helping people there. We have a 100-year-old grandmother who just got her first bank account. She has income now coming in every month because of GS Partners, because of the whole organization. It's a beautiful story. Most people in Africa, 80% of the world is unbanked. They don't have bank accounts. They don't have the money to keep the minimum amount in an account. They don't have the proper identification to open an account. I've spent time in Africa, traveled on a number of occasions since we first started building the orphanage back in 2000. And the transformation that we're making in people's lives there, it's incredible. They've got bank accounts, they've got income, they have access to the global economy. their lives are changed. And it's not just this generation, but it's with each ensuing generation. So anything else you want to add today?
Dwayne, I just want to, I want to maybe put a little bow in here, and that is that what we're seeing is a move by the public into creating a global economy. Now, we haven't had a global economy. We've had the internet, which has allowed people to do business. But economy is still dictated by whoever has the most dollars. That's how the world has worked for the last 30 years. What we're seeing is a reset where you and I can decide on what our global economy looks like. You and I can decide on what we get to interact in. And if it's not Bitcoin, it's Dogecoin. And if it's not Dogecoin, it's G999. You see, we make that decision. It's not dictated to us. And so when you share stories about Africa and you talk about the unbanked, here in Africa, the exchange that would take place between rural villages was based on what value are you bringing to our village, what value are we bringing to your village, and whether it was cattle to maize, goats to chickens, it was an exchange of value. And this really is going back to that, but on a global scale, because it's not being dictated by one particular currency, or it's not being dictated by one particular policy. And that's what makes this exciting. That's what allows for a reset that once the reset is through, we're not going to have one community and one coin. We're going to have multiple communities and multiple coins, which brings everybody back to a table to discuss how to exchange value. And that is hugely exciting.
Truly, truly a level playing field. And to get started in cryptocurrency, you don't have to amass a fortune first. Most people can't afford to buy one share of Apple stock or Amazon.
Yeah.
The thing about cryptocurrency, and they're even starting to do this with stocks now. I think they have to because of cryptocurrency. If you have $100, you can get a wallet, go to an exchange. You can buy $20, $30, $50, whatever you can afford. You can buy Bitcoin, put it in your wallet, and over time you add to that. More and more things are getting tokenized. Real estate, fine art, they're finding a life on the blockchain. This has been a tremendous conversation, Bruce. I want to encourage everyone who is listening to this broadcast, number one, if you don't have Telegram, okay, it's a messaging client, go to telegram.org, put it on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, on your Mac. It lives on all of my devices. You'll find there the official Price Maker channel. You'll also find the channels that we have for G999. You'll find our discussion groups. Our groups are open 24/7, 365. We have a group that's open to the public. You can come in, chat, get to know us, talk with us. We'll help you any way that we can. If you have an interest in getting involved with G99, we have a Zoom room that we'll direct you to so that you can get more details. And you can get a free account, look around, learn with no obligation, no cost, and make a decision if this is what's right for you at this point in time. When do you plan to publish the next video?
We publish that every Tuesday. We do a recorded video, and then we are due to release some data of some price movements. Some of our trading community recently did. So we're doing mini pushes to collate data that's in the marketplace. So there's at least 2 to 3 drops of information on that channel a week. We don't want to overwhelm, but Tuesday, I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 8 No, it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that's correct.
Okay.
12:30. It's I'll tell you what it is in Central African time. It's 7:30 p.m. Central African time on a Tuesday. Plug into that call. We do post the recording as well directly to that channel. But there's some movement coming through that you want to be prepared for. So you want to plug into that channel and be part of that movement. That's all I can say on that, Dwayne.
Okay, fantastic. Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time to come and be with us today. And I look forward to having you back again here in the next week or two as more things develop, as there's more to talk about. You'll always be welcome here.
Dwayne, thanks so much for having me on your call, and thank you to all your entire community for helping get behind good projects. Fantastic to be part of something like this. Thanks, Dwayne. Thank you so much, Bruce. Have a great afternoon, a great weekend. Cheers, and you too, Dwayne. You too. Bye-bye. Cheers, bye. Okay, guys, we're going to jump back to the daily chart here real quick. S&P 500, Emini Futures, that resistance overhead at 3,900. Current high of the day, 38.88 a quarter. If we jump back to our 30-minute chart, okay, we overcame the resistance at 38.85. We managed to make it up to 88 and a quarter, but we've not triggered on the long side for the last alert. Okay, we had this short alert, we had this move higher. This may not happen in today's session. On the Dow, okay, we had our concierge trade alert at 31,005. We triggered once, twice, 3 times, a couple other times with red and falling overhead, so we don't want to be long there. On the Russell, triggered once, triggered twice. Nice move on the Russell. Now, this is just the CTA number. There's logic alerts on the way up, and there's logic alerts on the way down. After the Russell in Q. All right, we got a pullback. The CTA number for the NQ last night was 13,601. So we had $340 per contract move to the upside. Okay, then we got back above the BBC. And this move took us all the way up to 38.5, 13,638.5. So I'll call it 37 points at $20 a point. And then back below the trigger with the support of blue and climbing, and got a window of opportunity right here. Okay. Now, here's what you should do, or let me finish up. Let me go to crude. We already covered all of these, but I'll show you where we're at. Making another run on crude, 57.05 to 57.10. Okay, swing high of this candle, it's 57.02. So if you don't have your goal for the day, you might consider 57.05 to 57.10, $100 per contract traded. If we take out this, then the next resistance is up here. What's left? Gold. Gold struggling at the CTA, just consolidating right here. A break above this takes us up to this potential resistance. And silver. CTA was at 26. At $27, that's a 50-cent move. Okay, we had 1 trigger, 2 triggers, 3 triggers. A 50-cent move in silver is $2,500 per contract traded. If you traded this move with 2 contracts, you paid for your passport. If you're ready to get started, go to eminifuturestrading.com. That's if you've already taken the trial. If you've never taken the trial, go to eminitrainingschool.com. eminitrainingschool.com.
Now we have to, keep track of IP addresses. So now let's not put each other in an awkward position. If you've already taken the trial, you've seen everything we do, we're transparent, you're never waiting for the other shoe to drop. We are who we are. We don't claim to be the best or the fastest gun in the West or any of that. We're just people like you. We've created an environment where everybody gets treated with dignity and respect. And unlike some places that might leave you hanging, we don't. We believe in no trader left behind. So you'll have 2 hours of group training every day, every trading day. You'll have the afternoon broadcast for 2 hours where you can ask questions and learn. Most days when I have the full 2 hours, I go very slowly through each alert. I talk about each little move, where we found support, where we found resistance, and most importantly, why. You need to understand why. If you're ever going to be set free and become a consistently profitable trader, you have to understand not only what's happening in that chart, but why it's happening. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. I don't care how slick the ad copy is or the website. They try to make you believe they know what'll happen next, but when God created Adam back in Genesis, he didn't give him the ability to change the past or know the future. Those two things are inextricably linked for eternity. But as you've seen today with our strategy and indicators, we do know with great certainty what the next high probability move is on every market, on every time frame. 20% of the time, the market does something other than the next high probability thing. Why? Because order flow changes. And what is order flow? It's every buyer and seller in the marketplace right now. And as Bruce just said, if there are more buyers than sellers, price is going up. If there's more sellers than buyers, price is going down. Our methodology and strategy does not try to outsmart, outfox, outrun, outdistance, or outthink the market, because the market's always right. So we don't want to pick a fight with the market. We want the market to be our business partner. So our strategy helps you see what the market's doing, why it's doing it, so that you can participate in what the market's doing, not struggle and fight against it. You can learn to read these charts the same way you read a mystery novel or a newspaper. And I will teach you how. Go to eminifutures.trading.com, get signed up today. Valerie will send you out everything you need, your links for the room next week, all your Telegram links, your 24/20 blueprint. She'll help you get your charts and your indicators set up, everything you need. She'll take care of you so that you can be in the Telegram channel with us Sunday night when the market's open at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll start the journey of teaching you how to trade. If you're tuned into this broadcast, I'm assuming that's what you want. I just don't want you to be discouraged by all the times you tried and it didn't happen. What we do is we focus our attention on you, and where you need help, we're there to help you. We have a community of people who are also willing to help you. Just become a part of the discussion group, introduce yourself, start asking questions. Trading's not easy, but it can be that simple. All right, good word for the day, restitution. Luke 19:8. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. If you've defrauded someone, God expects you to make restitution. Don't sweep it under the rug and try to save face. Zacchaeus was a first century con artist who worked for the Romans, collecting taxes from his own people, the Jews. He fleeced everything that walked. The Bible says he was rich, filthy rich. Luke 19:2. Nothing wrong with being wealthy. But after spending a night with Jesus, he was radically changed. How do we know this? Because he said, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus taught in Matthew 3:8, "Produce fruit in keeping with repentance." Sometimes it's not possible to make amends to the person you've hurt. What if they've passed away? What if you had an affair with someone else's spouse? Should you go and tell their husband or wife about it so that you can feel less guilty? No. You'd break their heart and maybe destroy their home. Any of you that ever been part of 12-step meetings know that one of the precepts there is that you always make amends, except when making the amend would cause more problems. So what do? 1 John 1:7. Pray and receive God's forgiveness. And if you still feel troubled about it, talk to your pastor or a Christian counselor or a mature Christian friend who can handle it. James writes in James 5:16, "Therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed." The point is, you must be willing to make amends when it's possible and willing to incur the cost to make things right. If you do that, God will bless you and you can live with a clear conscience concerning it, whatever it is. And that's our good word for the day. Now, during this broadcast, there was an issue with audio about middle ways through, and I'm just going to tell you it was operator error. Sorry. So we're going to render the copy that Val so faithfully saves every day so that when I screw up, she's got my back. So as soon as she finishes rendering the recording, we'll upload the proper version to YouTube. So give it a couple hours. And if you missed today's show, or if you want to hear any of the stuff we talked to about Bruce, where my conversation was cutting out, just wait for that upload. And my apologies. Now, I've been at this now since 2005. I'm this close to finally getting it right. We'll see. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.